Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cause and Effect, a show about Vetes. This is the second part of the third episode? Fourth? Third? Guys,
Fourth.
help! The second part of the fourth episode of the second season that you are watching. If you have missed the first part, I, as usually, suggest that you watch that part first. Or else this part is going to be a little bit tricky. Anywho, today we are talking about turbo decks, and we have come to our last deck example, the Turbo Nurgle. Nurgle Turbo, whatever. Adam, what are we looking at?
Right, yeah. This is a turbo deck, but not in the sense that we talked about them before, since it does not include Soul Gem of Etrus. As we talked about, Soul Gem of Etrus is supposed to bring a minion back into play after burning. This can be achieved also with Eternal Mask, which is the card we see here, and this is the card that defines this deck. Call the Great Beast and Eternal Mask is how you get additional additional actions, how you break the NRA rule in this deck. Yeah, I'm not sure. The crypt is a bit better because you don't need to have the same crypt that we talked about. You don't need top crypt card to be a specific vampire every single time, since you don't rely on Soul Gem. So you're allowed to include Fortitude Weenies, which is really good since they can remove Pentex with Daring the Dawn. Really neat addition to this deck. But I think we should talk about Eternal Mask. That's like the
key point. So, Isaac, tell us a little bit about the Eternal Mask.
In this specific deck, it's the superior version that is intended to be used. So the trick is to, as in the Cybele deck, you get Nurgle to get the Great Beast, and since he's only a 10 cap, he needs to do one Great Beast action, then he burns, and Nurgle goes into the Ash Heap, you gain a Great Beast, you give the Great Beast Serpentis. That's key, because Eternal Mask requires Serpentis. And you have the Beast bleed, and then you have the Beast do superior Eternal Mask, give all its blood to Nurgle, because you bring him back into play, and you play a Daring the Dawn, so the Great Beast burns. And that way, the new Nurgle, since it's a new Nurgle, because it's brought back from the dead, is allowed to do whatever he wants to. He's not tainted by the NRA, so he can bleed, and he can call a Great Beast, he can get a counter Great Beast, and you have an infinite loop, theoretically, once again.
Okay.
So that's how you use it in this deck. So the inferior is kinda... There might be situations where you maybe use it, but probably not, because NRA gets tainted by card name, not by the level you use. So if you use inferior, you're not allowed to use superior. And since Nurgle lacks Serpentis, he's not good to use.
Okay.
Also, before you get Nurgle back from the Ash Heap, if you have the card for it, you can bleed with the Great Beast, of course, to get some extra pull damage in.
Yeah, that's the idea. So both of them bleeds one time each, and then they do the trick part. That is either get the Great Beast or play the Eternal Mask, depending on which one is active.
So it's kind of like burning yourself ping pong game that we're watching.
Yeah, so they take turns being in play. So every other minion is Great Beast, and every other minion is Nurgle.
Yeah, and basically the rest of the deck is just Freak Dive, Daring the Dawn, some Stealth, and Bleed.
Yeah, it's really straightforward.
And of course you have to sense the same bleed increase.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the strengths with this, is the fact that you don't need to get capacity. Like Eternal Mask is kind of equivalent to Soul Gem. It's an extra action to get your vampire back, but you don't have to take an action to increase capacity, and you don't need to take an action to remove blood, as is the case with the Lucita deck, and if you want to burn with Daring the Dawn. So you remove 2 actions from the equation in a way. It becomes a lot more slim, the deck.
Yeah.
And you can see that on the library. It's kind of obvious, both in like basic concept wise, but also the iterations of the different decks. This is very, very straight to the point. There's no masters, and there's only focus on the trick.
Okay.
And since you lack both celerity and potence in this deck, you have to rely on scrounging for card flow management. And scrounging is one of those cards that's very underrated, I think. It's a very, very good card.
Okay, what does it do?
You get to draw 3 cards and put 2 of them into your hand. Is that correct?
It's all specs, right?
No, it doesn't have any requirements at all.
Okay.
You just have to be allowed to take actions.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really. I'm not sure if there's like a lot to talk about. It's really straightforward. You get the plus speed from the minions themselves, and as I said, you remove 2 actions from the equation. I feel like this deck has a chance to get more actions through than the Lucita deck because it has better card flow, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, the only like downside is that Nurgle is bigger. It takes a lot of time to get him up, and people might have some defenses, more pentexes has been able to be drawn, and so on.
Yeah, that's one disadvantage, but you have an easier time to deal with the Pentex if it hits, because you bring, as you can see in the crypt, the sidekicks are only Fortitude weenies. So essentially just, again, you're very sensitive to allies blocking you, but you just go for removing the Pentex, you play the Daring of Dawn. As long as there's not a DI or an ally, you're safe. And at least in the meta in Sweden, there's not a lot of allies around, so you probably get Nurgle out, and that turn you won't lose any actions either, so...
And likely also the case is that you have 2 Nurgle and 2 weenies in your crypt. So you can get 2 weenies out and try to remove the Pentex with the first one and get blocked by, say, Jake, which is really common to see around. And then the other one will have the chance to remove it for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this really is not much to be said about this deck. The hardest part would be like getting the cards.
Yeah. The hardest part, I think, is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Another thing that should be pointed out in this deck is that both minions you're bouncing around with, both of them have 3 bleed each.
Yeah. Yeah.
So compared to the Lucita deck, once again you get more pool damage out.
Something that's interesting with this deck, and that's that I think this deck could have been built by the release of Rose of the Night. Yes, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And this deck only surfaced 2011. So I think the hardest part with this deck is actually figuring out. It took us a lot of years as like if the entire Beatles community that someone figured this deck out. So that's probably the hardest part. It's quite fun that...
Do we know how to who to credit for it?
It says original idea AC Bishop.
It's Antonio Kobekoenka.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
So if that's correct, then all credit goes to him.
Yeah, big up.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the weird stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. This deck is actually just beautiful. I just like to look at it.
Yeah.
Does it work well? Have you seen it played?
I've seen not this kind of iteration, but I've seen with Nurgle and big cap set lights, I think. I don't remember really. It was a lot of years ago. Have you seen this particular deck, Olam, being played?
Oh, I think you know the one at the Thursday tournament at Prague. There was a guy who played the deck with Eternal Mask.
Yeah, but it was an Eternal Mask in Erika, and he'd wasn't aware of how Eternal Mask worked.
Yeah. So it kind of stumbled upon something. No, I've never seen this played, and I was like exalted when I saw this deck.
Salted, not excited.
Exhilarated is the deck. The word I'm exhilarated.
Yep.
You were exalted by who?
Exalted. Oh no!
Have you guys? When I heard about this deck,
Both.
so much because of the fact that this deck could have been built for such a long time and it wasn't. So it felt like really smart, and I was exalted when I heard about the deck.
Who died and made you
Yeah,
king?
I actually let's look at. I just want to play it.
I'm imagining it's quite boring to play actually because
Yeah,
it's
really boring, of course.
but yeah,
But-
I'd like to play against it.
Yeah, but funny as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should probably move on. Okay.
Deck of
Yes,
decks.
yes.
Yeah, so as we said, we're talking about the turbo. We've been through some of the most like regular kinds, but there are a lot of turbos out there.
Yes.
So yeah,
My first contribution is possession.
Okay, so yeah, tell us about Possession Turbo.
Essentially, the trick is very similar to the Eternal Mask thing, because you don't rely on the Soul Gem to get your vampire back, you rely on possession, which is kind of a bad action, unfortunately, because it doesn't have any stealth. But you can build a deck around this and the Baron, and this is it's very it's somewhat different to a standard deck, because you play the Baron and you play Corner's Contact, and you only play one copy of the Baron, and he's a 9 cap, and you pick vampires with Fortitude and Necromancy that are 8 cap or lower.
Is it Fortune? Isn't it Obfuscate?
I think you're wrong.
Okay. Oh yeah, the one I saw had both, I think.
Yeah, you can play some Obfuscate for just stealthing, but I think you need Fortitude. So you, the Baron, go and do something. For instance, you can villain him, or you can play Reanimated Corpse for a lot. Because here you have the same issue. You need to empty your vampire, that is the Baron, to burn him. So you play Reanimated Corpse, pay a lot of blood, you get the Soul Gem. Yeah, this is it. I don't get it. And you get the Soul Gem, and then you bleed and you burn him through Force of Will, Daring the Dawn, the same trick as in the Lucita deck. And then every you only have the one Baron, so every other vampire is younger than the Baron is. And that means that you get a random vampire with Fortitude and Necromancy into play, and that vampire later on can use that vampire uses possession to bring the Baron back into play, and you can do it one more time.
Yeah.
It's kind of complicated. I hope that that you managed to follow my train of thought, but the thing is, you only pay for the one Baron, and that Baron through Soul Gem and possession makes you get a lot of Necromancy and Fortitude vampires into play for free.
Yeah. Okay. Adam, do you have any other example?
Yeah, I can talk about the Jacob the Glitch deck that I said
Please.
earlier. Jacob the Glitch might be one of those overlooked vampires in the game. He is a 2 cap that gets 4 additional capacity when he's controlled. So he does not need to get capacity like a regular vampire. He simply, you turn him up, you measure the Smith, the Soul Gem, to bring him to 1 blood, and then you rush someone, and then you play Burst of Sunlight for 2
But
aggravate.
how do you untap him?
Wait another turn.
So it's not a turbo.
No, I guess not. It's like a
It's a slow turbo.
It's a slow turbo rush deck, yeah.
I know it's a turbo.
How do you...
When you have the soul gem in play, then it's not removed. So you get the soul gem, then you wait a turn, and then you can start doing it several times per turn.
Yeah, so basically round 3.
Yeah, and then you need to play a combat card that costs a blood, I think. Or a rush that costs that. Oh, never mind. It's not that important. But you burn with Burst of Sunlight, and then you get a new one, and this one can rush once more.
Yeah,
Obviously.
so basically you just bring him out and start rushing the fuck out of everybody with, and burn yourself with soul gem and
Yep.
stuff.
It's
yeah.
funny.
The important difference here, I think, between the other classic turbos, the classic turbo deck's point is to get around NRA to be able to bleed several times each turn. With this guy, you basically multi-rush.
Yeah.
The good news being that you have 28 pools left.
The bad news being that you will probably lose the game.
Don't be like that.
But I think that it's maybe good enough, at least it's hilarious enough to play in a casual game.
Yeah.
But I think thaumaturgy combat is somewhat underrated. Somewhat.
Okay, you need to explain yourself.
Yeah, Isaac, how are we gonna get out of this one?
But you have presses and you have maneuvers, you got aggravated damage. You have no way to counter combat ends, but...
It sounds like protein to me, as this.
Yeah, but you have to press.
But protein is short range. You can do long range damage with this.
No, wait a minute. Isn't there something? Isn't there a strike for like 4 blood to make a ranged aggravated damage at protein?
Right, mystic form.
Yeah.
That's a strong card. Yeah.
I'd choose...
Touche is the word you're looking for.
Okay, sorry. I let it go.
As you said, you would play what?
Never mind. We should. I'd play Reliquary Aconanza Remains.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably like...
It's another of those, in this case it's an equipment, but minion phase cards that can give you additional capacity, which is one of the key parts of getting a successful...
Turbo deck.
Yes. And this also happens to belong to a clan which have access to Fortitude. And conveniently enough, I see Adam brought up the Kikayaun.
Yeah.
And this is possibly the smallest turbo you can make, like smallest capacity. There is a 4-cap with inferior fortitude as well, if you're in that mood. But this is essentially the same engine used in this Lucita deck. You get the Reliquary Shango Remains, you get the Soul Gem, you get an Embrace, and you bleed with Force of Will Daring the Dawn.
Yeah.
And repeat infinite amount of times.
And this deck does not have to include some other card. What was that card?
Conditioning.
Right. That's the one.
To include conditioning.
Which could be a drawback and a benefit. It's a bit easier to get the trick off with it.
Yeah. And the Aconanza Remains are a lot better than the Camarilla Vita Slave, since it gives an additional +1 bleed.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Instead of basically nothing.
Okay, but that burns with the vampire, right?
Yes, you need to get it a new one for each Kikayaun, but that's the same as Lucita. Lucita needs to get a new Camarilla Vita Slave each time she burns.
Okay.
So that the engine it's the same, just it's a smaller cap vampire, and a shorter chain of card that needs to combo.
But just brainstorming here, you would have a bleed for 2, right?
Yeah, and an Embrace.
Yeah, but
it's not good.
yeah.
If you try to make it good, it's not gonna work.
How would you make it good?
Me and Alexander built one of this turbo for a storyline, Kikayaun Turbo. It was the Dead Nix Groundskeeper storyline, and there were some card that you had in play that let you
Oh, right. Those
burn one blood to burn a card, to draw a card, but there were no only once each turn, or only once each action, or X during Y or something like that. So you could do that infinite amount of time.
But that was a storyline card.
Yeah, but it was hilarious because their deck worked really well done, because you could burn blood, so you didn't have to take actions to draw cards, and then when you draw cards, you get the right combo in your hand. So you get the combo and you lose blood. It was like it was very hilarious.
Anyways, win situation.
Anyways, you can make a turbo with this. Probably very, very bad, but
But you could use maybe. Is there any other vampire that could work better with?
There's another 5 cap with superior fortitude, Akonans as well, which works just as well.
there's an Akonans, which actually have won a tournament, I think. An 8 cap with plus bleed. I'll try to find out the name of that vampire. Let's see. Amavi.
There's an Amavi turbo in the tournament winning deck, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she got plus bleed and superior fortitude and is an Akonans, so...
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
You can bleed for 3 instead.
No, it's not a tournament winning deck. It's just a deck.
Okay.
Anyway, you can do that.
Yeah.
Either way, so.
Are there any other ways to increase your cap that we should mention?
Yes, there is the elephant in the room is, of course, as always, Erica with Praxis Siege Berlin.
Or Cairo or Geneva.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Berlin is it's the capital of Europe. Of course.
It is. That's actually true.
Basically you just get Erica, and instead of another action to gain capacity, you go Praxis Siege Berlin to gain capacity.
But then you lose votes.
It's fine. She'll burn, and you get a new Erica, which has more votes.
Okay.
Important thing being that you can use awe to lose more or less all the blood you need.
Yeah, that's cool. And win and hopefully win the referendum.
Yes.
The only problem being if you get a delaying tactics.
Yeah.
That's very, very bad. Of
But
course,
then
you can
get
have you can mix the Praxis Seizures. You have Cairo and Geneva as well. On the other hand, it doesn't matter because you've already voted. So it's very, very bad that you're so sensitive to delaying tactics.
Yeah.
It's a big drawback, but obviously it's a benefit as well that you can bleed so much with a deck like this.
Yeah.
She has 3 bleed plus 3 bleed always, and then plus 2 for force of will, and then plus 3 for conditioning. So it's an 8 bleed.
Yes.
That's good. And
And
this
then,
is like
and then what do you go get called the Great Beast or?
You burn with force of will. Same trick as Lucita.
Yeah.
That's the basic trick. Gain a capacity, have fortitude. Use soul gem. That is the basic structure of the turbo trick is gain capacity, gain soul gem, use fortitude for multi-act and burning.
And then repeat. Rinse, repeat.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
So as long as the Viken starts ditching out equipment to give us additional capacity, we can build more of these babies.
Yeah.
Should I go for something really far-fetched?
Yeah.
Epiphany.
Yeah. I was just
So if you have a base vampire and an advanced vampire, where the advanced vampire had more capacity than the base vampire, you can use Epiphany to gain a capacity.
Okay, how many times did that happen? It's like
I've actually never seen this. I've just read it in a French.
But I mean, how many more advanced copies with higher cap is there?
For instance, Alfred Benessri, Beckett, Jeremy McNeil, Sela.
I put Tarek here.
Yeah, of course.
Hint,
We
hint,
talked a little bit. We talked a little bit about him before the show.
I think Beckett is a better choice because he got some nice abilities if you want to do a turbo.
Or you Can you not read? Or you can rush and you can't be blood hunted? With
But you want to burn.
Yeah, and then you can play Daring the Dawn at some point during action. It's fine. Just rush people.
And you
It's
actually
fine.
lose blood when you turn up Tariq, so that's
That's
a plus, right?
That's an advantage. He doesn't bleed that hard though. Anyway, to just conclude the train of thought is that you use Epiphany, you only have one copy of the advanced vampire in your crypt, and you have 11 or so copies of the base. And since Epiphany let you search your ash sheet as well for the advanced copy, you only need the one, and you don't have the issue with being unlucky when drawing the top card of your crypt through the soul gem, because you've already removed the single copy of the advanced vampire.
Yeah, but that's couldn't that like actually work? Good.
Yeah, I think Beckett actually is a good choice here, because Beckett base have an inherent action to let you draw 3 cards or something like that.
That could actually be really good, but he bleeds so little.
Yeah, that's the drawback.
But what disciplines does he have? He has no...
Gangrel Inclant has inferior distraction, so you can also play or inferior celerity, which is inferior distraction in my head. So you can also play distraction, so you get a good way to deal with your card flow issues, and you can bleed with and burn yourself through Force Will Daring Dawn. But you don't get an additional bleed, so...
No, and you have no bleeding disability abilities, but disabilities you have. But you could put in some bleed equipment maybe? Would that slow your hand down?
Probably a better idea to get embraces.
Something
because
that's-
embraces lost.
This is really funny about Beckett base special, is the 3 card. Since that's not tainted by the NRA if it burns, like, you do the trick, of course. You can, like, draw your entire hand the first turn, or the first time you act.
Yes. And then...
Well, you won't have card draw issues. You can, like, do the things you're talking about, include equipment, plus bleed, or air cleaning razor, and freak drives.
But how does it work? Does it draw 3 cards and then discard? Does it add to your hand size, or how does it work?
You discard down.
Yeah.
So discard down. But yeah, that you can use Epiphany to make a turbo. Anyways. You want to
But
hear
why?
the most far-fetched of every every ability to get plus capacity?
Hit me.
Sanguine Instruction. And this is probably not playable, but in theory you can do it. So you have one vampire, which is the same clan as the one you want to give plus capacity to, and that vampire needs to have superior in one discipline. And then that vampire plays Sanguine Instruction on one of your other vampires, the one that you want to give capacity. And that way it gains capacity and the discipline level. It's very, very bad.
Yeah. Isn't there like a way to...
Well, that's only... I don't think that can be... Like, it doesn't work, since that minion that teaches will still have NRA. He can't play more than one Sanguine Instruction. Right?
Then it gets to be a slow turbo.
Okay, I think it enters the
I mean, then
domain
you could-
of Julius right now.
You could probably make a turbo that like depends on dehydrating all the vampires, or as well as Sanguine Instruction turbo.
I think Sanguine Instruction is a no-go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you can gain a capacity through it, so just so you guys know, you gain a capacity through Sanguine Instruction. That's what the little red blob in the down right corner of the card means.
Okay, so I think we should probably close this weird discussion with Adam taking us through the Julius Mummified deck.
Okay, this is not actually a deck, this is a joke.
Kids, I would like to say, don't try this at home.
All right, you have Julius, right? You know Julius, who burns. Sorry, I can't find it. He burns instead of. Well, when he goes to Torpor, he burns.
He's a one cap with.
Quietus and Serpentis.
Yeah.
Let's see, Julius. There we have them. So if you have him in your uncontrol, you can take him up, and then he can rush someone, and then he can play, say, Mummify.
Who?
Mummify.
Yeah.
It's a command that makes the vampire plays it go to torpor. So he can rush people, then burn himself, and then you can turn up a new one from your uncontrolled region.
But
Ask us what's gained through this.
It's a slow turbo that rushes for no effect. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, so maybe there's something that could be done here. I don't know. This possibly you can do something useful with him before you burn him. I don't know, but that's up to someone else because I can't find it.
You probably can't do anything useful.
To be able to do shambling hordes, you need some minion.
You can
in
use
the
it
graveyard.
to feed Kassar's diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong.
No.
The Julius Kassar's diary mummify deck.
Oh, with you should include Talbot Chainsaw for Julius. You burn him every untap phase with Talbot Chainsaw.
Yeah, but double change.
Yeah, he goes to Torpor, he burns, and then you get a counter on Kassar's diary.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And very bad.
The worst part about it is that you have you're playing Giovanni if you're playing Kassar's Diaries, so you'd have Ambrosio and Ty Cooper anyway. So you don't actually have to. It's not an advantage to put the chains on the Julius. You just burn him. It's the only.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna stop you guys right there. I mean,
I'm on a roll.
yeah. I was trying to do a Kanye West impression, but yeah, whatever. Okay. I think we're kind of out of ideas for funny turbo decks. But if you guys have any funny turbos you want to show us at home, you can please send them in to causeampersandeffect at gmail.com or post them on our Facebook or something, and we can show him the next episode. That would be awesome. And if you know something to do with Julius and Mummify, please contact Adam at once.
I need this.
My life is turning to shit. I need something to hold on to. Okay, sorry. Yeah, we're freaking out. Any parting words, Isak?
Yeah, next episode will not be on Sunday, unfortunately.
Okay, will it just be on Tuesday, or is that not set in stone yet?
It's not set in stone yet.
Okay.
It will not be on Sunday anyways. I hope you enjoy this discussion. The turbo decks are very technically hard to play, but very single-minded in their actual play. Very concept-wise, can be very hard to grasp.
Yeah, and I think if you play turbo, you should actually be very aware that people get really afraid because of the trick. I mean,
and get angry.
Yeah.
Even though you don't do that much, they get very angry.
Yeah.
Angry people.
Yeah, so be aware. And if you see a turbo deck, you should probably try to oust it cross table.
Play Pentex on it, or
Yeah.
DI or Freak Drive.
You need to what's it called? Yeah, just slow it down. Actually,
You need to prepare for it, I think. You shouldn't waste your Pentex for something else. You should save it for when it comes next to you. And the same with the DI.
Yeah. And always DI freak drives or similar. Don't DI the actions because that's just wrong.
yeah, always DI the
Freak drive.
That's good advice. I'm gonna tell that to my son and daughter when I grow up to be a man.
That's good advice, actually. I think that's good parenting.
Yeah.
That is good parenting.
Adam, any parting words?
Nope. Don't try this at home.
Yeah.
No, it's. I think it's educational to play against, and some of these are better than others, so it's useful knowledge as well.
Okay, well, I think that's it for this time. So thanks everybody for watching. And remember, if you have any thoughts, comments, or ideas, you can post them on our Facebook page or send an email to the address below. That's causeampersandeffect@gmail.com. Remember to like us on our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. After the show, when we get it up, we will post a thread on the weekend.net where you can continue the discussion. And of course, send us your turbo decks or your funny turbo decks, and we will have a look at them. So yeah, that's everything for this time. Thanks everyone for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.